Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. For those of you who may only watch my YouTube, I was part of a content creator tournament that was hosted by SamuhGamer, and the global commentators, Fart Pancakes and Moshu, did a really good job commentating the fights. This video will be me commentating on my thought process during my semifinals and the finals. If you had caught the quarterfinals, which was at the beginning of the tournament, our team, Boomers, which consisted of myself, Elvemage as the team captain, and ShotgunShogun, our team, we won, but when we were facing the Korean team, I lost, and I lost really badly. I think afterwards, Elvemage just knew I actually needed help. We had done some scrims and all that stuff beforehand, and he was taking a very passive approach to me. Like, you know, I would draft, he wouldn't really commentate on it. But then after the loss, my loss to the Korean side, I think he really saw that I needed a lot of help. So big shout out to Elvemage, and I constantly say this as well. Like, the performance you guys are about to see, like 85% was Elvemage coaching. He put a lot of time into me. And actually is a master at just knowing the meta, knowing what's good into what, and he also has an ability to mimic the opponents I was facing, which is incredible. I myself put in a lot of work. As you're gonna watch in this video, this is the semifinals. We're facing Light's team, and my opponent was SamuhGamer. And he's a very strong player, and he has won multiple well, he has won one of the CCIs, the content creator tournaments, and I knew that he had way more experience than me. So I did a lot of homework with Elvemage's training. I spammed Skystone for hunts, try to get some upgrades on gear. It was really big deal for me to try to like improve myself. I'm glad with the results. Again, you know, obviously there's no point hiding it. I obviously did win, but like, just to say that for the commentary's sake, hope you guys enjoy the commentary. But this is kind of like the lead up to it. So anyways, enjoy the commentary, guys. Alright, so this is versus SamuhGamer, and I mean, I've watched the content creator battles, the CCI, all of those tournaments that Epic 7 has held before, and Samu is definitely a good player, and I jumped on his stream actually in preparation for this matchup. I knew that I was going against him for the semifinals, and so, you know, I did my homework, studied, and of course, you know, credit to Elvemage coaching. I learned a lot. So in the previous I think it was the quarterfinals when I faced a Korea team, I didn't know what I was really doing, but now, like, I felt that I was ready for this. So the my mentality going behind this, the APOC is really solid, and I watch Elvemage a lot to be able to know that you can pivot really easy with a Ran, because you have it's not like necessarily a cleave, but it can show that you're cleaving, but you could pivot out of it, right? So one thing is that I knew I couldn't cleave. I don't have really a good follow-up. Like, my Ran is decently fast, but it's not like a super good like cleave Ran. But because he applies immunity buff, death break, it's pretty decent. He's a good opener anyway. So obviously it looked like I was cleaving, and then Samu reacted with the counter cleave options, which is really solid on his side. Again, like I said, I wasn't ready to cleave. I don't have Pavel built. So the LHC and the Violet here just to counter what he has so far.
There's a lot of faith in Samu's side right now, but he, you know, in those first 3 picks, he responded really well to Dragon's first 2 picks. Unfortunately,
so at the moment with the Rem, I was thinking of either Landy, so, you know, to skip the counters, hard to hit, or the Spectenny, but it just depended on his last 2 picks at this point. The Rimuru would have been a bit risky for my Spectenny. My Spectenny is a glass cannon. She does insane damage, but which I think we'll see actually in the semifinals here. but she is not bulky enough. And especially that I felt that I needed to ban Rimuru. Like Violet was a risk, but I didn't know who he was banning, right? But I felt like I needed to ban Rimuru here. So, you know, hoping that my Landy goes through with the stealth. If it was Spectani on the other side and he would have left a Robbie because of the LQC, my Spectani would have died from the splash damage, so she would be useless there. It's really hard to kill LQC though. Like a Robbie versus LQC, usually it's not going to be a winnable condition for a Robbie unless you got like a Ruel Reviver or insane damage mitigation like a Troublemaker Crozet. But obviously I didn't have that choice. My team is technically full damage, so it becomes really hard because LQC is a DPS that hits hard but also really hard to kill. Anyways, the first one's kind of YOLO. The creator battle overlay, I know that if you guys were watching the live thing, it was kind of annoying because it would be on for so long and you would kind of miss like the first turn skill, especially if the player spammed it right away. I think it has something to do with like Global wanted like Global's version and then Korea Stream wanted their own version. So they had like this overlay to kind of mask the stream delay between it. Anyways, I think they gotta figure out a better solution for that in my opinion. Either we all watch the same thing or... But anyways, that's my commentary on that. So yeah, ML Cowrick, I mean, Landy's really good into ML Cowrick. DN, if Landy can skip anti-crit, it'd be really good. So yeah, the Rimuru would have been a risk for my Landy here. It just depended on like what he let through. And because I had no other mitigation, even my Lionheart was at risk, so I had to ban the Rimuru. I take my odds with the LQC. Unfortunately, with the Violet pick here, it was kind of counterintuitive. I thought that maybe he would ban the Violet. But I had to take out Rem, right? Because if I hit anything else, then I could trigger an AoE counter, and that would reveal my Landy. The dual attack on the Rem was pretty lucky there, but I mean Rem wasn't really going to be surviving anyway, like unless she was countering every turn, but I had immunity, right? So that's why Ran is really strong. May not be for this comp, especially if you show your cards too early and you don't commit to cleave. But like I said before, I had no ability to cleave. I just wanted to copy my coach. I just wanted to copy Elvemage. But I've seen him do it like successfully where he pivot out of cleave, and honestly I've faced that in the ladder, which is why I still pre-ban Ran. So maybe until I can get like a Pablo build or something, it will remain to be my pre-ban. So this is pretty good too, right? So the speed buff with the Ran, I was able to cut the LQC. So the strip was like pretty good. But the Hellcutter stack was going crazy because I had all my turns and he had pretty much all his turns. And my A-Robbie is not on Proof of Valor, although maybe I wouldn't even survive that. I don't know, it did 28,000. I don't know if it would have survived even if I was on Proof because I had no Aureus. With Aureus and a Proof of Valor, I think I would survive, 100%. So everything here is all about Landy. Unfortunately, no attack buff on Landy, otherwise that whole team would have been dead, I think, on that turn. That would be the second Landy stack, I think. My Violet is also not really well built for this team. I don't have enough gear. For this tournament alone, my gear went really thin. I have 78. Well, now I'm making this commentary after the tournament is over now, but I had 78 heroes built for RTA. If he was bulkier, I think I could have survived that. That was the downside. So my Violet was is on immunity. It was meant to be like a Caesarea type of anti thing, but in my opinion, Pen set better, and I gotta make him more bulky. He's like higher damage, lower bulk, which is usually is just like go into ice and you'll never lose. This was a bit heartbreaking here. The Landy, I was surprised that she was like lapping this much. Actually, when I got the turn, I almost didn't know what to do. But I missed the kill. That low queen Charlotte at 16,000 HP, 164 health left. My Landy is not triple S. I had always thought that I would never need the triple S at that moment. I wish I had triple S, because if you thought about it, all the damage I did would have accumulated to the kill, right? So even if we were talking about, I'm double S at the moment, we're talking about a 3% attack difference on a Landy,
So close for the Landy.
and scaling up with her passive, that would have been the kill, right? So now I am very tempted to slate Landy. Landy has definitely not gone out of the meta. Milim didn't really stop her in my opinion. If Landy's picked in the right situations. These tournaments are also very interesting as well, right? Because you got the accumulative ban. So as heroes are getting banned, more and more heroes that are really not viable or less viable in ladder become really viable in tournament. And this is why for this tournament, you know, I wanted to win. I wanted our team to win, but I myself wanted to, you know, improve. This is why I built 78 heroes for World Arena for this tournament. Otherwise, I don't think in a ladder fight you will ever use 78. But in a tournament, a cumulative ban, you could get up to 10 heroes if you don't overlap, I think, if my math is correct. 10 heroes banned, and like you need your full roster, right? You need all your roles covered. Anyways, so I went hand guy for this one. I play hand guy a lot myself. I know that Samu does too. I did my research on him. But so does he. He picks a Robbie. Like we're standard bruiser players with slight aggro. Sometimes an Emo Charles Landy thrown in. I know he plays as Landy. I was watching his match in the quarterfinals. And I think we actually did a scrim with Same Way and Lights team, so Carnival here. And I fought Samu that night for the scrim, and he was pulling his Landy on me too, so I knew that he was a Landy drafter. DN has been kind of annoying in this meta. And I think during the semifinals, again, I'm making this commentary after, obviously after the fact of the tournament. I think during the semifinals, the heroes were not buffed yet. Oh no, they are buffed. They are buffed. But I don't think I play Alencia here. I play her in the finals, but Alencia is very solid in my opinion. I made that comment when Alencia got buffed, saying that she's really good because DN's meta now, so she'll be decent. She'll be like good again. DN Crow is relatively well picked again in this season, or end of season pretty much. And so Alencia is coming. Her buffs are actually coming in really well. A-Rod's also really good here. A-Rod's good for a single. If they go high single target, he's very solid, and he's still a really good knight, defense buff and all that. For AOE, he's fine. So A-Rod's is very solid right now as well. If you don't have these new heroes built, you should definitely build.
It's kind of been on the sidelines.
You will actually see me use A-Rod's a lot, especially during the finals. But that will be commentated on a separate video.
Some barriers for Jagan's side because we have some from the Ricky S2. We have it.
So Rimuru is pretty good into Archdemon's Shadow. Like theoretically speaking, you should be able to one tap. But with mitigation, it's slightly harder. He would have to have full buff stack and the flat damage that he applies. If you apply that 10k, she's almost dead. With mitigation or Aureus here on the Crow, it would have been harder, so I had to start picking really good DPS. I will make a comment here, like Samu's draft at the moment is like very strong. He's got that carry DPS in the A-Ravi, he's got cleanser attack buff for healer in DN. He's got a mitigation, and he has still one more slot for a DPS. So I had to be very careful here. I had the same rules, right? So you can see that I have A-Roz there as the mitigation. I have a cleanse attack buffer as well, but I'm missing a healer. So my fight would have to be like, I can't sustain him, right? He's a slower, but I needed to bring up the momentum. And it didn't matter because I was basically picking to ban last anyway. So it wouldn't have mattered what he picked. He had only one reach from ADS, and ADS's reach is obviously RNG based. But then Specteni and Landy are really both good into ADS. So I think ADS was too early of a pick for him. It's very passive.
Units that don't have counterable attacks. So
Yeah, see that overlay? That overlay blocked the whole DN S3 animation.
Dragon to have a better draft here. On the other end, we do have
And then he doesn't have
Landy
reach,
staying
right?
alive.
For the A Robbie. The only reach would be like if Landy gets knocked out of Guiding Light. I did this first. The attack down would be good, but the barriers to protect the Landy. And he got lucky. He actually got the seal, and good thing I really went for the S2 first. Some people would arguably say that, oh, go for the S1, right? But you don't want your Landy exposed too early. Again, like I needed both heroes.
Popping off.
But yeah, the ADS is getting really lucky here. My Landy was almost out of stealth. But the F10 artifact, the extra damage from the F10 artifact does not knock it out of stealth, which is lucky. So I took damage, but I wasn't knocked out of stealth because the artifact effect doesn't knock you out of stealth. So I was very lucky on that. So I went straight for the YOLO here.
Straight into the mirror here, and
We got the defense break, so this is lucky on my side. But again, like I said, I went straight for the YOLO. I don't know why his ADS wasn't on immunity though. This is why I'm saying like you guys gotta have immunity on especially slower heroes. Unless you have a pen set on the hero, but ADS wouldn't be a pen hero. Actually, did he have immunity?
here we go, another S3 for
I'm pretty sure he didn't, because I didn't strip him, right? Yeah. So it was a non-immunity ADS. I don't know what other sets would benefit her, honestly. Maybe HP set, maybe defense set, or maybe even crit set if he's going for gear score. So that was really good here. I mean, technically it didn't matter if I was sealed, because MLKarek doesn't rely on a passive on the S2.
barrel her.
But obviously for the immunity buff, for the attack buff mainly, to start cycling now. I wanted to kill as quick as possible. The A Robbie was Proof of Valor, so I really couldn't do much to it. Like outside of S10 getting another stun when she gets her S3 back.
Not so much
So it was perfect artifact for Samu to have on the A Robbie. It's a large debate for any player what is best in slot artifact for A Robbie, and honestly, there's no perfect answer. Like Crimson Seed is good sometimes. Proof of Valor, Crimson Seed are probably the most priority ones. Mine's actually on Draco plate because I have Proof of Valor on someone else, and I don't like Crimson Seed anymore. The meta is too crazy in terms of debuff. In terms of if people are gonna debuff you, they're gonna have multiple debuffs, and Crimson Seed just doesn't shake it off.
had to there.
So like Timeless Anchor arguably is even better, but Timeless Anchor has more RNG.
Damage.
But those are just my thoughts on A Robbie artifact. Honestly, you'll never get a full answer. It depends on your playstyle. If you constantly draft cleansers with your A Robbie, then you don't need to Crimson Seed.
Critting on the A Robbie though. Speaking of soul burns, oh,
That that dual attack on the MLKarek into the A Robbie was not a super smart one. I should have targeted Crow. I shouldn't have hit A Robbie in terms of my single target. So because it added an extra heal to her. Because Hand Guy actually does lower damage than her self heal. So it added a bit of heal, although it wouldn't have mattered. I don't think I would have killed there. That extra heal wasn't the win condition. But I was very lucky that the revive brought back DN. Because that DN wouldn't really be doing anything here as long as he doesn't have reach. So unfortunately my guiding light didn't proc here, so this was getting very clutch.
oh no.
I will say though, I was very lucky that my guiding light had not procced, you know what I mean? Like all the way till now. So if you're talking about the 70% of guiding light being maxed, I was pretty lucky to be in stealth pretty much the entire match. But again, like I said, if it was ADS that got revived, I think I would have lost easy. Because ADS would have got her turn no matter what. He had souls, he probably would have soul burned. Actually, if my A-Rods wasn't on immunity at that time, then you proc and then I'd have lost some heroes. The anti-crit working there, but it was okay. I was basically looking at the horse turns, and I think Samu maybe horsed a bit early, but honestly with Crow it's really risky. I would have horsed when he did actually. I don't think I would have held it.
probably the skill ups, the skill tree, and the effectiveness here.
You calling out Samu or not Samu?
And also, just for players who are like, you know, learning to play A-Ros, don't put Spectenny in the back. It doesn't work. A-Ros's new buff, barrier buff, only works if they hit your backliner with a single target attack. Okay, so Spectenny can never get hit by a single target attack, unless she's the last one alive. So it doesn't work. Right? So never put Spectenny in the back. I guess unless you S3 or S1 into a Rimuru, I guess that would be the only exception at the moment that I could think of. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's more ways for a single target to reach her. And for the Rimuru example, is obviously providing that you have a buff on your Spectenny when he triggers his S2. There you go. This is good. That was a close one, but like I said, there's a bit of RNG on both sides, and I think I definitely the RNG worked for me. I think the ADS early pick was not the right option though. He really had no one to seal. Like he had no one really to seal anyway, so I think it was like ADS feels like some people's like crutch sometimes, I feel.
And that made her susceptible to getting that defense break from the A-Ros and just getting nukes from that Landy right away.
But yeah, hand guy is still very OP. Hand guy and A-Ros together right now is very strong. You just have a ton of mitigation, and then you have strips, you have attack down, you have barrier, you have a defense buff, immunity. Like those two together right now handle a lot. Pillis is better into heavy AoE. A-Ros is good all around, but specializing now in single target damage because he could have that barrier proc on the backliner. So he got rid of the Spectenny. I mean, that's kind of okay. It means that Bellion won't really come into play outside of you wanting to either spam injury or spam AoE. Because like no one's going to be like drafting Bellion, and then Samu doesn't play like tons of souls. Like he doesn't play cleave. But see, Lilius was open. And hand guy is gone. I took out hand guy because yeah, I took out hand guy because I know that it was his comfort pick, so I wanted to take it out. Also he had first pick. So he did leave the Sea Lilies open for me, and then now I have like a really aggro start.
Yeah, I was about to say this is the first pickup and actually a pretty nice pickup.
Sea Lilius is insanely strong. So like my first fight with Samu was like, you know, I picked the A-Ravi and ran. But Sea Lilius type of cleaving is also very insane, right? Because Sea Lilius opens up to somewhat of a cleave, like with some kind of ETA setup. But it can also run into like more aggro, whether it be aggro single target or aggro AoE. The Sea Lilius is still very strong. But of course, like, you know, Lionheart is pretty good there, but Lionheart picked early would be able to open me up to some sort of cleave, like I said again, a la ETA, that kind of stuff. F Clear here was a very interesting one, but I guess like he's like, oh, Spectenny's banned, right? He banned Spectenny, so I was like, okay, no, it doesn't matter. Nothing's hiding from my F Clear defense break. So the ADS pick here again, also weird. I still have a cleanser. I don't have anything that is going to say that I'm going to trigger your ADS.
Yeah, I think LQC is pretty good into both these characters.
Exactly.
So here's the trick for this one, right? So LQC here is like good into the darks, but very susceptible for that F Cleary. Like it really depended on speed tuning. I didn't know what his Cleary was like. Was it like a really fast one? I don't think anyone runs a really fast Flurry right now, but there are people who do. So you can never know. So LQC, you know, getting flurried or getting fire hand guide is gonna be really bad, right? Reset or ice Kisei. So I was like taking a risk that he wouldn't go those directions for my LQC. Otherwise, like LQC is disabled. Even with a DN cleanse or a Sea Lilius, it wouldn't have mattered. Like I'd only been on S3 on the turn 2, or her whole second turn.
lot of debuffs, it could still mean trouble for Samu's side.
Solitary is pretty strong here. Even though ideally I had the, I picked it in the last pick, but Solitary is really good into ADS, into F Cleary even, just because again she can disable F Cleary.
Are we gonna see the carrot picked up?
A carrot here, actually carrot.
And for those of you who may not know, like Solitaria into ADS, if ADS steals Solitaria, it's a different story, but Solitaria can keep ADS stunned, and Solitaria actually can't gain her full focus because the Solitaria is passive.
And DN doing their things, I don't think it's enough anyway, because that DN's just gonna
and ADS's full focus S3 is honestly like it's a game changer. Like if you allow her to get that S3 off, ADS that is, it can wreck the entire team. Like you got the burns, you got the death break, and then you get an extra turn, and it's not counterable, so it's really, really big.
SSB into a Rowena.
So the SSB here, the commentators, Fart Pancakes and Moshu, they don't know my SSB is on injury. My SSB here, the design was to take down the A Ravi. That was the whole design here. Into Politis, you have like a slight shot of Politis missing the S2 if I wanted to rip my S3 on C Lilius, because elemental disadvantage, and then of course the immunity on my SSB, I would have gotten that, if no strip, then Politis can't do any stuns, which I knew that Samu's was actually a degen Politis. I think it's like the typical like tanky ones with high effectiveness and ER. Like 100 effective, 100 ER, probably a bit more than that. The dual attack there, kind of unfortunate, just because of that. Hellcutter is not even stacking, so the dual attack and LQC, unfortunate. So the reason why I didn't rip it right there was because I needed to make sure the Flurry was disabled first. So if that Politis, because I knew it was high effect, if that Politis has stunned my Solitaria, it would have been over. So Solitary would have been really, really in trouble if the Politis actually ripped the S3. But he couldn't risk the SSB, I guess, because of the defense break. And I guess he didn't want to. So because my SSB and my OQC is coming up, my SSB, again, the focus is ready. She's ready to do the S2. So I decided to rip the S3 here and take the risk. I knew it was Abyssal Crown, but I think it was worth the risk here. And I think it paid off. It definitely paid off, as you'll see here. It's not a damage Politis, like I said. So the resistance on the LQC. I always tell people again, if you have immunity, put it on immunity. It could save you, right? This one definitely saved. It did remove my SSB immunity though, but again, the Abyssal Crown did not proc on his turn. Whereas on mine, lucked out, I got a 2 Abyssal Crown proc. Actually, I don't even know if it's 2 Abyssal Crown or part of her passive. Because her passive, she can do stuns too. But on top of Abyssal Crown is big. Yeah, and then the Hellcutter was stacked. Even though he was a Proof of Valor, like I said before, like when he LQC'd my A Robbie in round 1, even if I was Proof of Valor, I don't even know if I survived, right? Because he doesn't have mitigation here. Unless that Flurry was on Aureus, I'm not sure. But like, if I was on Proof in round 1, I don't think I survived that OQC anyway. But I did have Vigor buff, so that may have been the difference. Yeah, so the ADS comfort pick is not a really good one. Like, you might get dominated in ladder by ADS, but if you really look at it, you're getting dominated because you're picking heroes that make ADS really good, right? Either you have a Bellion or something like that, you know? Cause like constant AoE or constant ways to trigger a counter. Like another way to go with ADS, in my opinion, is a ton of dual attackers. So A-Ros with ADS is pretty strong. And C Lilius with ADS is pretty strong in my opinion. Again, if you get like a C Lilius with an A-Ros and ADS in the back line, it's pretty disgusting because you got a Vigor buff, you got defense buff, you got the barrier to protect even if they go Rimuru, try to nuke out your ADS. You got the barrier from A-Ros, you got the dual attack guaranteed from A-Ros, assuming that ADS is your highest attack, you know, all that kind of stuff. So like if it was like a C Lilius, ML Cowrick, A-Ros, ADS that makes it onto the field, your opponents are gonna have a difficult time, unless they have like an ML Kawazu or something. Anyways, I'm giving too much theory craft, but again, a lot of credit again to Elvemage and then just watching his streams.
Alright, so
And ShotgunShogun as well. Like these guys were spending like time practicing with me in mock rooms and stuff. It was very, very useful.
that neutral early Iravi pick.
What was the ban? Oh, we both banned DN. Okay, that was pretty funny. Yeah. So Pillis is not a good knight to pick unless you're assuming AOE is coming, and there's nothing that he has right now would make me want to AOE. So Pillis is like the better knight for AOE. A-Raz is like the better knight for single target. If you have the choice to pick your knight late, I would suggest that. But generally people go knights like pretty early. But in my case, because I have C. Lilius, going in knight is too passive. So I needed another way to, you know, have attack buff and push, right? So Amelia is obviously still on the field. Emma Kawarik, DN are all gone. Amelia is the next best thing. Some may argue that Amelia is better than DN. I would say DN and Emma Kawarik is stronger than Amelia at the moment. Outside of Amelia getting the 15 speed with the frenzy over Emma Kawarik. Otherwise, Emma Kawarik is better as like a second turn type of player. But now I have 2 enablers for LQC, and he's still going with the dark. I don't usually even play LQC that much. On ladder, I hardly do. I don't like her picked like at 3rd slot, but because like I said, if you have disablers like Fire Kawarik, like Ice Kisei, and you're comfortable with their speeds, like you have like a very cracked one, you ban the C. Lilius, right? And then if the Amelia doesn't cut, you disable the LQC, and she's pretty doomed. Fortunately, like I said, A-Ravi into LQC, like 1-to-1, A-Ravi doesn't kill LQC really quick because of her innate damage mitigation, and then if you have an Aureus, it's hard to kill. So in most cases, A-Ravi versus LQC gets the win. But again, LQC is too slow, so she relies on everyone to support her. And then A-Ravi can have like a lot of support to help her kill LQC or disable her. So he went with the Politis here as well. So here, okay, so this is pretty cool, okay? So what I'm about to pick here is gonna be a Mort. Mort and SSB. Now, I would say this, Mort I built specifically for the tournament. I even molded him for the tournament. Because in these kind of accumulative ban scenarios, again, having more heroes is better. And, you know, a lot of people might be really questioning the Mort pick here, but in my opinion, because I knew that Politis was an Abyssal Crown, Mort doesn't get stunned. And I think the commentators at this point were saying that, oh, Mort into Politis is not good, elemental disadvantage. It doesn't matter, it wasn't a DPS Politis, right? So Mort, as long as he can get the S3 off, I can take out 20% of A-Ravi's HP, and that can disable her for quite a long time. But the other thing was, I knew my SSB was obviously on injury set, and so I'm like, alright, this is pretty cool, right? So like, most people won't ban Mort here, so it's either SSB or LQC ban, right? But then I think that because like, I have too many things that, you know, could go wrong for him in terms of the LQC, even if LQC gets like, I don't know, maybe skill reset because the Politis there, right? Politis can strip the immunity, Dilibek can reset the skill, like that could have been a play. Disables my LQC for like a turn or two. I kind of figured that it's okay. No one's gonna ban Mort, and the SSB one was a bit tricky, right? But I'm assuming he thought that SSB is good because, hey man, I have my Pillis, I'm gonna be fine. Like I said, most people don't have SSBs built on injury set. I'm one of the rare few, I believe. Most people build on lifesteal or full damage SSB. Mine is on injury set, and I've always trusted it because I think that even on ladder, if people are gonna like bulk up and tank up on you and just like hold you hostage with like 2 soul weavers, like two knights or whatever, I'm just making stuff up. Having injury is very beneficial for you, especially SSB on drink. You have damage no matter what, and you can cut down their HP. Very lucky there, missed this SSB as you can see there. My Amelia is also 200% ER. So I kind of figured that I can probably not get stunned by the Politis. And I think I did have full resist actually. If you look back on the video, I think it procced the resist thing on the on the Amelia.
Amelia will take the first turn before the Dilibet.
So here the commentators are saying that, oh, push up Mort, get that S3 off, right? And I think they didn't see this play. They were really surprised at push up SSB. The thing is, like, now he has no way to strip the SSB's attack buff, right? So like this is like the better play because you got vigor buff, you got attack buff on SSB. So I'm relying on drink, I'm relying on injury. So I'm just like, hey man, this is the better play no matter what. And also I wasn't 100% sure that I would get the push on Mort actually, because Politis cuts the CR in half. He probably did, but in that moment I already knew the play I wanted, which was SSB, so I didn't even consider the Mort. The Mort's injury is no comparison to SSB's continual damage and injury. Because Mort, once he rips the S3, he's kind of out. That's what makes him kind of bad.
Oh, but not just one hit from SSB,
but so look at the SSB, right? So, like, doing a lot of damage to that Pillis, and then the injury is happening, right? Luckily that I procced it Politis even, so I got like a free S2. Because the Dilibet's at S3, my Mort actually didn't have the S3. He was reset, as you can see on the CR bar on the left. But SSB is just like doing her work, getting that injury. And then that, I did not know actually the Politis was a counter Politis, which was even more beneficial because now I got an extra turn that I didn't even think of, right?
Pillis disappeared, mitigating too much damage for everybody.
And here we go.
I think the thing is the commentators do not expect that SSB was on injury, so they, at this point I don't think they even knew about it yet. They thought Mort had done the S3. But my Mort hasn't even really gotten a useful turn yet. But here he comes, right? So the Mort pick was actually pretty good in this comp. It was SSB carry for sure. The Mort was honestly just to be like, okay, I could ban the LQC or the SSB, and I think in most cases people will ban the LQC, right? Because if it was lifesteal SSB, I think with the Pillis mitigation, like A-Robbie will probably get the turns here, but because of SSB sneaky set mechanic, I got the upper hand. So this was like a build diff kind of thing. I think if Samu did research on me like I did for him, I think he would have figured my SSB was on injury, because she's been on injury forever. So like I said, I always believe that you should have a couple injury heroes if you have the gear, just in case you run into like this, right? But a tournament setting is very different compared to like ladder though. So injury SSB doesn't always work on ladder. Lifesteal might be better if you're going for like consistent damage and survival.
This is true.
But you see the A-Robbie is at half HP. I guess he had a 24,000 HP A-Robbie, but with the frenzy also lowering her max HP, she has a 12,000. Like, she's not really doing any more damage unless she had a high attack, depending on your A-Robbie build. Yeah, but that's pretty much game.
Proof of valid A-Robbie, she's very susceptible to debuffs there.
Yep, and just like
so again, it was really well played on Samu's part. I don't think he misplayed anything. He did really well. He's a very strong opponent, and it was an honor fighting him. But again, thanks to my team and with the training, and then I spent a lot of time researching my opponents, their favorite drafts, their favorite heroes. I think this the hard work paid off for this one.
With Elvemage going into light.
So that was it for the semifinals, at least my fight versus SamuhGamer, and we ended up winning. Elvemage beat Light. They were speed racing the entire time. If you guys watched the entire thing, it was pretty hype. I was very hyped that night. So this will do it for the semifinals. My commentary on my fight is specifically. If you guys are interested in the finals, definitely check it out. I will definitely be uploading that as well. But for the video recording, I'm going to end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.